and capacity charges into the PPAs. Government should include these in the tariff calculations to eliminate the need for off-book debts that are caused by the take-or-pay clauses in the energy sector contracts that were signed between 2013 and 2016. And you will recall that that is one of the major challenges that has created the stock of energy sector debt. The capacity charges and the take-or-pay charges, which could not be included in the tariffs. And so every now and then, a bill is sent to the finance ministry to pay, and that bill is accumulating. If the government is really intended to pay, one of the things it should do is to complete the renegotiation, move the fuel purchases and the excess capacity charges into the PPAs, so that when people consume a certain realistic amount, then they will pay. Number two, government should quicken the efforts to bring efficiency into the operations of GRIDCO and ECG to reduce transmission, distribution, and other technical losses. You have followed the argument that part of the problem is the losses occasioned during transmission and distribution and collection. If government really means well, that is one of the areas to focus attention and front load. Number three, we're asking government to pursue the strategy that we proposed in 2024 to go heavily into renewable energy, as advertised, for example, in our manifesto, to reduce the need for fuel importation and its consequent negative impacts on the economy. And you will recall that prior to 2024, in the elections, we signaled that if the NPP was in power today, we will focus heavily on augmenting with solar power, so that this whole thing of buying HFO and fuel for the power plants will be reduced. And you don't have to then come and impose these levies on Ghanaians at 8% to pay for the inefficiencies in the sector, contrary to the promise that you made. In closing, colleagues, it's already clear that the government intends to go ahead with the implementation of this draconian levy, and they will not listen to anybody's plea, anybody's reasoning, or anybody's alternative ideas. We as a minority group, representing over 10 million Ghanaians, and sometimes people say, oh, they are just 88. In our 88 constituencies, you will find over 10 million Ghanaians. We want to advertise that we'll be embarking on the following. Number one, we'll continuously engage the people of Ghana, civil society groups, driver unions, and the media to showcase the true impact of this draconian and negative levy that the government is imposing on us. Number two, we'll continue to stand with the groups of honest Ghanaians, the driver unions, the Chamber of Oil marketers, who are opposing the levy or asking government to pull back and to engage better, and not to go by this midnight introduction into parliament and using their numbers to push it through. We know the government has a lot of goodwill, but this is not the way to do things. Number three, we'll continue to stand in solidarity with the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies in their position that this downstream sector is already heavily overtaxed. And now if you add this new levy, effectively about 26% of what you are paying at the pump is all taxes. And we'll continue with our advocacy to government to withdraw this levy and adopt less painful and more pragmatic options, some of which we have suggested in this afternoon's press briefing. We are grateful to you for your attendance, and we look forward to further engagements on this subject. We'll take your questions and do a quick summary.
All right, thank you very much. Yes. Please, your name and station.
Thank you very much. My name is H.E.John.
Why are you giving the first bite to him?
It's for mischief purposes.
No, sorry.
It's okay, we can hear you. It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you very much. My name is H.E.John. I read for FM News Online.
Can we have some silence here, please?
Two quick questions. Honorable.
One question. One.
Okay. Basically, you are asked to come and address us on the economic component of the E-Levy. But throughout your explanation, you seem to be highlighting details on the levy. Can you please tell us the economic implication of this E-Levy? And as you compare the E-Levy to current levy, at the time that the levy was imposed on us, the fuel price there was around 18 cedis. As we speak today, the fuel price around 12 cedis, and even LPG from 50 per kilo. Today, this morning was 8 cedi, 20 pesos. Why do they compare that to the situation that government has no business of taxing the fuel company?
Thank you. We shall respond to that. There are two questions in that: the economic implications, and then the argument that fuel prices are low, so it's okay to slap a tax now. I'll respond to both. Let's take a few minutes.
Yes, please. Your name and then your station.
So my name is Steven Ghana. Yes,
It's okay, we can hear you.
sure.
We are taking the sound bite.
You
Because we
alluded
have
to
the
the
S1,
fact
it's not
that
Yeah, go ahead.
yes, you alluded to the fact that Ghanaians did not get the opportunity to discuss the levy before it was introduced and passed. But then, among the things that you are going to implement, I'm happy that you said you are going to engage various stakeholders, especially those in the transport sector, and then others. But I would like to ask you, would you consider doing so by getting closer to them at the various bus terminals, churches, mosques, and other public places, to let them know the real impact, because that is where they will feel this impact. So when you get closer to them, especially in the morning, and then you engage, then Ghanaians will begin to know that this is what they are going through, as you have alluded to in this place. Thank you.
All right, so yes, Ibrahim. Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, leader. First of all, I wanted to respond to this because that has been the defense from government that if proceeds of ESLA had been properly utilized by your administration, we wouldn't be here today. And two, in preferring solutions as alternatives to what government has done, you talked about adding these cost items to the power purchase agreement through renegotiation. And that will have reflected in the tariffs that Ghanaians will be paying for electricity. How is that different from what has been inflicted on Ghanaians today?
Very
good question. I'll respond to that. And then let's take a final one.
Okay, I'll give him one and I'll use my powers to give you the final one.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. I listened to your question. You calling for your presentation, statement. You calling for total withdrawal. Do we have problem at the energy sector? And what percentage of levy will really help? And lastly, my worry, as you indicated, that they sneaked it in. Looking at their numbers and your numbers, I think there's this developing tendency at your end. Why is it that you said mighty minority, but the numbers over there, to tell Ghanaians that you are widely awake, we don't get the numbers over there. How are you addressing that one too?
You are wasn't giving the It's not a fair question. Yes, please. Yes, please. Is it Metro? Very well, please proceed.
You mentioned a few suggestions to deal with this. Now, does it change the fact that even though we could renegotiate, we could move the fuel purchases and excess capacity charges, bring efficiency to the operations of ECD and Greco, we could do all of these things, but it will still not change the fact that we'd have to pay, maybe at a reduced cost. So if we still have to pay, what would the minority suggest the payment plan or the payment approach or the method be, not the taxes?
So let me respond to this.
So please put off your microphone.
Is that TV3? Oh, okay.
Let me respond to the first set of questions about the economic implications. So again, I'll take you back to the past. When a 1% levy was introduced on transactions that people elect to do, we were told that the economic implications were such that it will bring economic hardship, it will contribute to inflation, it will add to the difficulties of people. Today, an 8% levy has been imposed across board on all fuel, or at least petrol and diesel. As a start, you can clearly tell that as the driver unions are beginning to warn, eventually it will catch up with fuel prices. And when it does catch up with fuel prices, when fuel prices go up, the transmission effect is such that the prices of goods and services generally will begin to go up. Now, secondly, you are asking a question about public engagement. Yes, we intend to engage in various forms. Today we are outlining to you some of the things that we are going to be doing. We are not ending here. We'll be engaging at various levels to get people to understand the real incidence of this taxation and how it affects their daily lives and how it translates into the prices of goods and services as they go up. There was a question about, will passing it through the tariffs be any different? Let me answer. You see, tariffs are not set by government suo motu. Tariffs are set by the PURC. So the government will sign its PPAs and the power producers will go and make a case to an adjudicator who will consider all of it and decide how much of it can be passed through. When government chooses not to put the fuel purchase and all the other matters into the PPA, but to do it on the side, to create a debt and then to come and slap you with a levy, there's nobody to look at that and to say that this can be passed on or this should be absorbed by the power producers. And that's the big difference. That's why we're saying that if you really mean well, let it go through the system and let the PURC and other entities have an opportunity to examine it and make a decision what you should absorb and what should be passed on. If government decides to keep it on the side and then charge you 8% to pay for it, you should be worried. There's a question about what percentage of levy will be a good idea. We've been clear. We are not asking for any percentage as a good idea. We are saying that listen to the driver unions and the oil marketing companies and the general public, pull back, engage some more, and find better ways of doing this other than just saying that because we have the numbers in the chamber and because we have goodwill, we will just slap it on people. Now, there was a question about the operations in the chamber. We have our strategies that we use to litigate all sorts of matters in the chamber. When the majority side decides that they will not in good faith advertise ahead of time that we want to introduce this tax. You were all here, you recall when we were approving the finance minister, and we drew his attention to the fact that the claim that he will increase revenue without increasing taxes cannot be true. I'm sure you were here, you recall. And that if indeed he could do that, we support him. Because they knew at the time that what they were saying was not true. On the day that they were going to bring, in fact, the day of the budget, did any of you hear them advertise this particular levy? On the day that the business statement was read, prior to the sitting, did any of you see this on the other paper? So I'm not the one saying it, you are witnesses. Now when they demonstrate such bad faith that they won't advertise it, they won't let you know, and last minute they will tell you that we have the numbers, we'll push the numbers through. What are you left with? You have to let them have their way and draw the attention of the public to what they are doing, and that's exactly what we are doing at this point in time. Finally, there was a question on what sort of renegotiation. So, first of all, this issue of any sector debt is not new. Recall that when we assumed power, it was at $2.5 billion, and the World Bank forecast said that it was going to get up to about $12 billion if nothing was done about it. I'm sure you've all read those reports. What our administration did was to start the process of renegotiation. You saw many times when IPPs were threatened that they'll switch off the power if we don't pay. And our teams, I recall Dr. Amin Anta and other teams at Finance and Energy, had extensive negotiations with them to ensure that they didn't carry through their threat. That is what a government does. So that you keep on the light without necessarily passing on bills to the Ghanaian people. That is the kind of negotiation that we're expecting this administration to put up when the IPP is back. Not just to say that we have goodwill, so Ghanaians swallow 8% tariff. There was a question about ESLA and its usage, and that you should blame the NPP for this levy. I'll let Honorable Abouajena do that.
Thank you. You recall those who are in parliament, I'm talking about the press who are in parliament, you could recall that if you go to the Hansard, you will find out that every year the ESLA report comes to parliament, and they will debate it. After debating before they will approve. Have you ever heard that ESLA was mismanaged? No, you didn't hear. All these 8 years, you didn't hear any of it. Currently, the 2024 ESLA report just came to our committee. We've gone through, we want to go into details of it, but we've never find it anywhere that ESLA was mismanaged. That was wrong. So take it as it is. Thank you.
Okay, so we just have the MP for Nsamam Aduajiri and the minority chief to just do a bit of.
I can speak from
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Well, okay, so Kojo has dealt with that equally. The Honorable Judge has spoken about it. You know, when one says the bill was not captured by the business statement, indeed it wasn't. But for all of you, I know you've been in this house, you've been reporting for some time now. There is always a generic statement in the business statement that says bills may be admitted. Statement may also be admitted by the speaker. So it could be a defense on the side of the majorities that yes, they can come under that generic statement that often features in the business statement. However, the practice has been where it is the case that a bill is being introduced where it did not feature in the business statement, at least leadership will be carried along. That is why every day we have conclave before we come to the chamber. On that day, on the said day, we had conclave. I was there. The majority leader came in late. The chief whip also came in late. There were other members in their leadership who also came. They did not even cough about it. Nobody told us about it. And then suddenly we saw that other people are addendum. And even the other people are addendum, they only printed copies for themselves. Yes. Yes. They printed only copies for themselves. And I had a reason to confront the clerk that this is a two-sided house. And you print other people addendum and you give it to only the majority. If you don't have ulterior motive, why would you do this? So clearly, and thankfully now, I'm told they are saying they will implement 16th of June. Yeah. So confusion, you don't know whether they are moving forward or coming backwards. So this is the reality, and I had to buttress it because I'm in leadership and I have to give you this privilege information. I thank you.
All right, thank you. One more.
Don't
worry.
I don't know if there's a follow-up.
I'll just give you the final opportunity. Yes. So just one last one.
No.
Joy.
I'm also here.
No, please. You are not supposed to do that. Not everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
I promised him.
My name is James Sameti with Joy from Ghananews. Just wanted to ask that if you embark on the public education and all of the activities you want to do and nothing changes, if push comes to shove, what happens? I'm sure two options will be available, either legal or you hit the streets. Which one is the minority contemplating?
So this one is like you've written the story in your newspaper and you're looking for somebody to wear it down. Nobody goes to battle by fully announcing the full breadth of their strategy. Today what we have done is to inform you that, and there's a very important reason. When bills are introduced here in Parliament, you see them advertised, sometimes we invite memos. This is a revenue bill of a very significant nature, and the government just clandestinely brought it in. As a result, the public has not had an opportunity to come to full terms with its various implications. Look at the questions that some of you are asking. So our first objective is to get people to really fully embrace the full implications of what is going to happen ahead of us. As we go along and as we measure the impact of our strategy, we will inform you of the subsequent ones that we are going to do. There was a second comment that this is justified because fuel prices are low. I'm shocked at that kind of rationalization. Fuel prices will forever be at this level. Check the OPEC forecasts, and you will see the forecast for world market fuel prices. They will never be at this level. Our currency is experiencing a rebound as a result of about 6 different things. Is it always going to be this way? So when you introduce taxes at this time, claiming that fuel prices are low, so everybody should keep quiet, what you are doing is setting up for difficulty in the days ahead. And we have an obligation to draw your attention and have this analysis done in detail. And that's why we're doing so at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have Honorable Michael Aidu, who is going to take us through some tree summary. And he's going to do that for about 5 minutes. Then that will be the end of this presser. Thank you very much. Honorable.
Thank you very much. Your bishop for a friend who has an actually say a tax 8%. What about for March? I say CD back 1 CD. A bino a 2 fan also a fuel petrol diesel ameno yeto Ghana for so 18 year friend was saying will be this uncommon. Now the woman say a tax 1 CD and what 2 4 CD. Any minority who say Eddie kind a nyatrum ana abana if we say what see abana kasem if we abra mobile bemu any mobile bemu abra ye honorable to force on your finance minister and vetting in some our kai say or no de on for tax be ama meto farm also and energy sector so na or share the sector care or one problems or and yet Ghana for was some tax into a more than share pabeba ama energy sector negina ye that was sorry na omo anadro oma fasuma say ede tax for fraba beto ye so there ya wo bukra ne say so we share aban that NPP aban no abra ye de E-Levy ba ye ne Ghana for di nkomo parliament ye ne parliament for di nkomo yene civil society di nkomo yene nkofo bebre di nkomo ansa ane de tax neba eno na ma E-Levy eteba afo mo ba bedu 1% we de efri nya atwom ne boni omo pese omo di Ghana fo nti omo de ba no esumase ana omo de bewrem na yese ede enti di sumase dwa omo di sumase dwa ni da say e krono na omo bo ana say ebeyi na we de omo de ba nso eye parliament ye dwumadi mu no what the BBC ba was say other paper I did dwuma no so and the business of the day no omo amfa so ama ye o minority ni ye hu there say wo ho say omo NDC for ni mpa omo parliament ni bebre anye den hu ye ba na omo de additional addendum eto de ba be kan other paper no so enumre ma omo be pia edi rem omo de ba sa be na Ghana fo bebre mpo akwakoda omo ni ndie ekoso Ghana for the nyane I say mobile bitua 1 CD. Ana enye 1 CD pepe keke. 1 CD no what the core percentage are 8%. If we say the taxes ever on my way mu. When the first time I did tax, I maybe about the tax kese 8% aba. And pay baby o share VAT the taxes I dey ba. Ye dey ba nkitenkete e bia 10 pesos bi ana 1%. Na e woman na ye di kakra aka ho na ye 1.5% sa na akosoro. We dey preoccupy 8%. Na 8% no me no na eba betua. Ghana ni bia betua bi. Eye tax a obi antumi endoje. Omo mo ye kuafo eto eye fan mo petrol ni diesel. E di ye omo adwuma omo di gu omo motor bro mu spray omo fuo. Omo di gu omo tractor mu di ye adwuma obi abetua bi. This a we ye wa de se obenante. Ofa kan kwan o Ghana ha 8% ubetua bi. Say enti say E-Levy na ji say wokọ send sika ema obi ansa na watua bi ye de E-Levy ba ye omo say E-Levy na ye kro no enti we ni yem friend say we edi abetumi di amana ne say ya amrobi atutubotom kese pa E-Levy ye kro no a E-Levy ni nkrofo bebre wo Ghana ha na E-Levy kro mu ntia omo ko bank no mako yiska no mako tia cash
E-Levy ne na ebinom okwan a mo fa ho a mo nye de omo ntua gisa wo ye transaction ansa na wetua E-Levy ana E-Levy mpo na ye 1% we dey 8% no oma ye ne se Ghana ni bia betua bi o a wo beka se wo ntua ni mpo no anya bia so bekọ akọta ade enti omo a omo de tracks efa enema e de call Ghana ha bebia no omo de ye 8% ne beto tax ne so ama for no beto ne so ama wo na wo bekọ akọta enema no so atua bi we na ye ne minority ye hu ne se entwa yi fi se omo de ba consultation bi ankoso ne obete se driver unions asori omo kasa CSOs bebre asori a omo kasa even date omo ka se omo hye no omo de tax no as starting point one say oil marketing companies Comac omo association asori se embo a omo if we say omo nim say existing tax na o 30% no we be kan wa 30% so omo ko hwehwe sika e de be subsidy tua ansa na omo tumi aye bond a omo de be load for ne de abreye se aban de sha se enche omo se for short be be ntina omo increase days ne se omo ko na omo ne omo akwa akodi nkomo if we say omo anye engagement stakeholder engagement bi ansa na omo de tax we ye den eba enam sa opepa na Ghana fo nyama omo a ye to aba omo nya ne kese nti se omo fa bu o ma Ghana ni bia omo fa ne se obi aka hwe omo ntienti obi aye walk over omo nti obi a de omo pe na omo ye den omo ye wo mra hye bedwem omo de sa tax to abehye Ghana fo kon de ya wo mu ni se ye papa John Dramani Mahama yo mampanyin okokan se omo beye nhihye ya omo de betua eka e wo energy sector sabe no kan wan ti humpo se omo de tax bi ye dey eba omo ready budget statement omo ante ho se omo de tax bi ebeba nti eba ni se na omo de tax we eba beto Ghana for so de e kan se tax no eso dodo ebebu Ghana for kum ebe praye ebe ma ye ho akire ye ene na ye se bi a fan wo bo aba from kakra na ekina ye danyane na se amanse dwaso pek omo koye niema na se fan wo bo ne kosra ana se danyane na se sidi no asase epeja sa tax na ye bi on be ye fro ade a minority e kan se e kan na we energy sector no ade ama e kan aba kese eye excess capacity charges eye PPA agreement a eye aban we 2013 to 2016 almost sign aba beto Ghana for so no ye free bibi take or pay so woji o wanji o utua sa eka no ana ama eka we nyina aba be meneye ana omo double standards omo ye ne se ena obisa omo se de kotua ka ekina obisa omo se de koto fan wo enti de ye bisa ne se de na omo di sika ne ye de e ba be ye sika no keka bo ma 5.7 billion na E-Levy ema ye 2 billion 2 billion no mo say ye krono into 5.7 billion na mo ji Africa Ghana for bottom no eno de eye den de pesa Ghana for nyina de o maso ene o madwen ba ho ne say sa e ka no mo sika ye o mo ba baji de pa na o mo de be ye o mo de kotua ka ana so o mo de kotofa ngo ana o mo so ka say energy sector no challenges o mo betu bi asolve de ye ka ne say take or pay no o mo anesensan ye o mo nko no mo ne eye o mo ma ye sa nyinam kane ane nkotena se na contract no mo ne o mo sign ye no ye nua John Dramani be kan say or call the veteran or so mo be renegotiate contracts no na o renegotiate contracts ni wie ye ECG ne eye grid ko ni ade o mo transmission losses efficiencies e wo no woni o mo ntena asem fa nhihye pa KPIs nto ho e mo mo ntumi solve sa problem ni nyina nwi na wo the taxes e ba be she Ghana for so say ye tena ho e ma o mo de ade we kwa de be ba ni say ECG ne grid economy ade omo inefficiencies ne be so bibia eye energy sector na enye bia no ye be gya ne say free say yenya tax bia say enya enyo ebetua na che say Ghana for na ede ebre nti eno anene ye say ensentro for momo aye na ye ne Ghana for nkasa momo ntie ye ne ye be si form ye be call eye lorry stations ye be call baby bia ye ne civil societies drivers e be call akodi nkoma chechro mu amoma hu sa tax 8% ye 1 CDC de ebreye de ya wo ho ne say woto eye liter of fuel a ubetua 1 CD woto gallon a ubetua 4 CD 50 pesos say mo hu say that tax na bi wo ho da don na 2 CD 30 pesos bi ho ana 1 CD na be ka ho enti si a gallon bia no ubetua be 15 CDs per gallon tax nko a wo de ma abai de ye pese e ma Ghana fo hu no ye da mase
yo thank you very much indeed. I think that brings us to the end of the presser. All we are trying to let you understand is that the task is a killer task. Na killer there, killer.
Please, who is the